Good evening, family, friends, faculty, coaches, and fellow graduates. Well, it was definitely an interesting fourth quarter, but congratulations, we did it. I suppose I should address the elephant in the room, the uninvited guest. Coronavirus, thank you very little for crashing the party. Not cool. These have been crazy times indeed, challenging and heartbreaking. Yet, there are silver linings. So that is what I'm choosing to talk about today. So I will not be focusing on distance learning or social distancing or quarantining or hydroxychloroquine. And I will not be saying we will get through this or this too shall pass or we're all in this together. Instead, I'm going to share with you 3 bits of wisdom that I've learned during my time at Eastview High School in the sincere hope that it will help you navigate these next phases of your lives. Number 1, show gratitude. Being kind, compassionate, appreciative, and acknowledging of others is more important now than ever. Especially in these unprecedented times of uncertainty, we might not all like distance learning, but at least we can all appreciate that we are able to continue our education when so many other students around the world may never return to the classroom when this is all over. When our world was flipped upside down, Eastview's teachers, administrators, custodial staff, and attendance secretaries were there for us and our families to provide a sense of consistency and normalcy. And how about our Eastview alumni? They have also stepped up and been amazing throughout all of this. Your time, your warm notes, your compassion have really made a difference to all of us seniors. One of the first Lightning alumni to reach out to me when word got out that school was canceled was Julia Gilbert, a graduate of Eastview's class of 2017. When I tried out for the Eastview speech team in 8th grade, I'll never forget the first day of practice. Julia, a junior at the time, came right up to me, wrapped her arm around my shoulders and said, "Hey Cam, I'm Julia, come sit next to me." She continued to sit next to me at all the team meetings, team practices, and bus rides. She became my mentor, my friend, and biggest cheerleader. Thank you, Julia, for showing me what it means to be a true Eastview scholar. So, I want to challenge you to think of a few people who really helped you along the way and how you could thank them for how they've impacted you. People want to be acknowledged. So acknowledge them. Another person I'd like to acknowledge is one of the custodians here at Eastview, Han. Han and I met in a very unique way. When I was an 8th grader, one night after school, I got locked in a stairwell. It was late, they'd already started turning off the lights, my phone was dead, and to top that all off, I started to hear a dog barking. Being an 8th grader, trapped in a scary high school late at night, I thought, this is it. This is the way I die. In a stairwell. And the barking kept getting louder and louder until I finally saw the dog. It was Han, smiling and laughing at me, saying, "Gotcha, who let the dogs out?" He then proceeded to unlock the door and escort me to my practice. For the next 5 years, he would continue to unlock doors for me late at night in the halls of ECU to make sure I got to my speech practices safe and on time. How cool is that? Han, thank you for your kindness and patience with each of us. Number 2, channel your inner weirdo. Be unique, be creative, find ways to stand out in the crowd. This means putting yourself out there and taking some risks. Throughout my 4 years at ECU, I was very involved in the performing arts department. And when I initially started, I was always drawn to the ingenue or pretty safe female role. But then I discovered that if I put myself out there and took on an edgier role, the higher risk would yield a higher reward. The joy of making people laugh became my superpower. So my advice to you is to be an outlier. Employers want to see people solve problems differently. Creativity will need to become your new superpower. Whether that's trying something completely new next year, like a new trade, skill, or club, be a weirdo and get outside your comfort zone. It's like Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, famously said, "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes. The ones who see things differently." So, try and see things differently. And number 3, be tough. Mental toughness is going to be the key to our long-term success in getting through these difficult times. Like most of you, I am a diehard Minnesota Vikings fan, and every Sunday during the fall, I have watched my dad suffer as his beloved Vikings have often disappointed him for the past 50 years. My dad's favorite Vikings coach is the legendary Bud Grant. Back in the 70s, when he led the Purple People Eaters to 4 Super Bowls and sadly lost all 4, sorry, Dad, Bud saw this as an opportunity for a unique home field advantage. In January, when teams from warmer climates would play us at Old Metropolitan Stadium, they would completely freak out and be consumed worrying about the minus 30-degree temperatures. Meanwhile, Bud took cold out of the equation entirely for our players. In fact, he wouldn't let them wear gloves. He said, if you're thinking about staying warm, then you're not thinking about playing football. Only worry about what you can control. That's mental toughness. Bud's sage wisdom rings true for us as well. As we look forward, we should focus on what we can control, not what we can't. Because look, we can't control COVID-19. We can't control the economy. We can't control the stock market. We can't control the election. And most importantly, we can't control when we're going to be back to normal. But here's what we can control. Start with your physical health. Exercise and eat right. Focus on your mental health and your above-the-line attitude. Simple things like smiling more, being kind, helping others, being a better listener, and being a good neighbor. These will be the keys to our success. And that's it. Just 3 simple things. Show gratitude, get creative, and be tough. There's an old cliche. Find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And I couldn't agree more. But it takes time to find out what you're really passionate about and great at. Be patient. My parents gave me some great advice as I prepare for college this fall. They said, first, you have to figure out what you don't want to do. Fortunately, I have already figured out that I don't want to do math. I'm sorry, Miss Sherwin, but logs and cosine inverse just are not my friends. So whatever path you're going on to next year, keep an open mind. We don't know what we don't know, and it's not a race to find out. Unless you're 2-time state track and field champion AJ Green. Maybe that's why they call this a commencement, a new beginning. I've been very lucky in that I have been to all 7 continents. But you know what? I can honestly say that there is no better place in the world to live than Apple Valley. My travels have made me appreciate just how fortunate we are to go to such a wonderful high school with so many amazing teachers and staff who genuinely care about us. I mean, this place is riddled with talent. How much talent, you say? I thought you'd never ask. Just this year, we've had several teams win state championships, including the Lightning Dance team, which won a pair of state titles, and the Adaptive Soccer team, which also brought home the hardware. And this doesn't even include what our boys basketball team coulda, shoulda, woulda done at state this year, let alone all the other spring sports and activities that fell victim to COVID-19. But again, there are silver linings. These past 3 months under quarantine were a great reminder to us that life, like any activity or sports season, is about the process, not the end result. Needless to say, our school is pretty incredible. So having a diploma from Eastview is something we can all be proud of. I know I am. In the end, we will forever be known as the class of 2020, the one that got robbed of their senior year spring quarter. But more importantly, we will forever be known as the senior class that lost the homecoming cup to the sophomores, and I think we can all agree that one stung quite a bit as well. We were born on the heels of 9/11. In elementary school, we lived through the Great Recession, and now as seniors, we are surviving a global pandemic. Perhaps no other class in modern history will have persevered the way we have, because our generation was built for adversity. My final note of gratitude goes to all the parents out there who have sacrificed more than we can even comprehend to get us to this point in our lives. I think I can speak on behalf of all of my fellow classmates when I say, we love you and thank you from the bottom of our hearts. As such, since most of our parents grew up in the 80s, I'd like to leave you with a quote from perhaps the most iconic movie of their era. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. In the final scene of the movie, Ferris breaks the fourth wall and sums up the entire film in one sentence. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you could miss it. Look around, class of 2020. Find those silver linings. They're out there. I wish you all love and laughter, and we will forever be Eastview strong. Thank you.